Good evening, everybody. Moving pronunciation online, ready, set, go. This is where the story started this year at the Intercultural Centre in Preston, where I've been leading a program since May 2016. And this program is a pronunciation program. Drop in, come. Learners came when they could, and there was no commitment, just coming when they were able to. It was individual sessions. So here you can see each of our 4 teachers who were working on that day, working with a learner who would spend 30 minutes with the teacher, working on exactly what the learner wanted to bring to the session. And here's where we moved to. You can see it started mid-May. I had an idea I've checked it out on the email on the 6th of May, saying I've got an idea in an email that I sent to the manager at the centre. And by the following Tuesday, we ran a dry run with the teachers, and the 19th of May, we got started. This is supposed to be a blank white screen. This is what we started with, absolutely blank screen. First of all, which online platform, Zoom or Microsoft Office Teams? When would we run it? How would we get the word out to potential learners? Methodology, curriculum, content, all question marks, let alone the digital tools that we would use. So let's have a look. The people, the learners, the people we had worked with over some years, and the people who come to the Intercultural Centre for a whole range of activities. Diversity is the common factor there. The teachers on our team, the number of teachers and the particular teachers have varied over the 4 years. A couple of us have been there from the start. And the 4 teachers who took up the challenge with me were all current members. Oh, actually one previous member who lived a bit far away and who rejoined, and a diverse group, all individuals. And this is what we came up with in terms of scheduling. Initially, it was just 1 hour from 12 to 1, but the learners wanted longer, so we started a bit earlier, and then we started a bit earlier again at 11:30 to have a bit of social arrival time. And you can see the sequence there with the class for 35 minutes from 11:45, and then we moved to breakout rooms and then back to the classroom. The breakout rooms are very important. Now, in terms of my own approach to teaching pronunciation, which I've been doing for more decades than I'd like to admit, intelligibility is certainly my driving force. And what I'm focusing on in these classes is connected speech in everyday conversation. I'll talk a little bit more about suprasegmentals shortly. As far as sounds, I've started with the vowels. This week is class 10, and next week we will start with some consonants. I can talk more about those on another occasion. The question of what is intelligibility, what do we focus on, how do we prioritise our lessons to address and to address intelligibility, and how do we sequence those? The reference is at the end of the slides. It's a very detailed look about setting priorities. One quote by Levis really caught my eye, and the beginning part is what jumped out at me. It's at the heart of effective pronunciation teaching. And the rest of the quote, I think, as you can see, captures a lot of important features about intelligibility. I said I'd mention about suprasegmentals, or prosody, which is, or prosody or prosody, depending on your accent. These are, in the bubbles, these are the things that come to mind. I might have left out one or two of the detail. At the bottom of the screen, what can I, let me start that again. What can I get for you today? So here we have the text at the bottom, the words, they're made up of sounds all connected together. The suprasegmentals, all those verbal things that are happening above the actual sounds of the language. And these are the features that we look at in the class. Here's one way I came up with for marking some of the really standout suprasegmental features. So there's actually a mistake on this. I left out the link between for and you. What can I get for you today? No pauses. Every single sound and word is one continuous stream of speech. And the lines through and or and today, the lines through are where the vowels been reduced. I've used the capital letters in bold for stress, and of course I think you can guess what the green line is for the pitch, rise and fall. That's just a very crude sort of thing I'd do on a blackboard, well, sorry, whiteboard. Levis has a really interesting chart there that I like to think of too when you get beyond the sentence and discourse level, and those other features on the related areas are also very important. Just very briefly, basically this slide is about me feeling I have a responsibility to enable learners to take some responsibility and ownership. And this was very clear when we had a setup. This is a screenshot of the last slide for the class. The two boxes are the two main areas. The first one, the stress, pinch and linking in everyday conversation, some samples of what we were talking about, and the vowel we were working on. And this was a reminder for the learners and the teachers going into the breakout room about the materials that they would have there to choose something from that and work on it. More recently, it's changed to this, to actually choose something from the lesson and create a short conversation, to write the sentences, to have each person in the breakout room a sentence or a phrase or a word to read, to practice it, and then come back and present it in the classroom. And this went off like a rocket. It was really, really good to see the responses to that. In terms of the digital toolbox, chat has been useful at various times. My very favourite video resource, I'll give a big shout out to ABC Education Learn English video courses. I think it's been mentioned in a couple of sessions about online recording. We haven't used it in the class yet, but Vocaroo is next on our list, probably next week. And Genially is our choice of, not platform, but our presentation software. So Genially, it didn't take me long to decide, yes, Genially is the one to use. Much quicker and easier, designed for delivering online content, and most important is the fact it can be shared outside of class with a URL. So keeps all the audio and visual there ready. And not just sharing with the learners after the class, but also with co-teachers before the class. Okay, now here's an example, a bit of what we're using or continuing to use.
Oh, actually, I've got a question around tips and skips. Could you just explain the difference between the two, please?
And that's just a little snippet of a longer conversation. I now use a still image from the conversation to start the conversation about the picture. So up on the top left there is the still that we use to have a bit of conversation in the class. And the other frame shows a slide with the audio on it and a clip, a very tiny clip of the conversation. So we go through sections and pull out things that are of interest. Our learners, this learner had previously attended the individual drop-in sessions. Give you just a moment there. And the section I was very happy to see was down the bottom there about the, in that final sentence, in the breakout rooms, I could study again and strengthen my study, and teachers and I could also practice by role-playing and helping correct my pronunciation. So she very much liked the individual sessions, and she's been a very keen participant and really got into the whole class plus breakout rooms. This learner, I was quite touched when I read this, if you look at that first paragraph. And we haven't seen her 3-year-old son on Zoom yet. We've heard him from the other room, and I gather he has an adult looking after him, because otherwise he's a 3-year-old who can occupy himself for an hour and a quarter. But he's a big part of her life, and the amount of time she spends with the practice materials is quite amazing. So, teaching pronunciation online. The close-up face can be even closer than face-to-face. So last week we were doing the sound O, O, and obviously we'd never do that with in a classroom. Well, I've not done it in a classroom, not quite that close, and it's obviously not just the oral motor movement, but the whole face when you get to things like pitch change and stress. And the fact that we can look at each other very closely and quite intently without feeling uncomfortable, and that's a wonderful positive with the whole online situation. There will be, I'm sure, plenty of other positives. Watch this space. Un paso más, or paso a paso, is what my Spanish teacher calls her teaching practice. Un paso más, one step at a time, and that's definitely been the experience for our team. So I do want to say a big thank you to our teachers, our learners. EduTech Special Interest Group on Facebook, fabulous. And the mentoring program, which has put me in contact with Michelle, who's just been an invaluable addition to my professional life and my family. And the Intercultural Centre staff are amazing. After that,
thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I'll stop sharing my screen.
Wonderful. Thanks, Meg, for all of those tips. And yeah, thank you also for giving the Facebook group a plug as well.